Welcome to Movie Vault, where we break down the most intense, mind-blowing shows in cinematic detail. Today, we're diving into Squid Game Season 1, the global phenomenon that turned childhood games into a terrifying fight for survival. This is a brutal, emotional, and deeply psychological journey through one of the most gripping TV experiences of all time. A desperate man and a dangerous game. Our protagonist, Song Gi-hun, is a man at rock bottom. He's drowning in gambling debt. He's hunted by loan sharks. His ex-wife is taking their daughter to the US, and unless he can prove financial stability, he'll lose her forever. One day, a mysterious salesman approaches Gi-hun at a subway station, offering him a chance to win money by playing Dot Dak Ji, a simple game of flipping a paper tile. But there's a catch. If Gi-hun loses, he gets slapped in the face instead of losing money. After countless humiliating slaps, Gi-hun finally wins a round and receives a business card with a phone number. The salesman tells him, "If you want to make more money, call this number." Desperate, Gi-hun makes the call. The players arrive, and so does the terror. A van picks him up, and before he can react, gas floods the vehicle, knocking him out. When he wakes up, Gi-hun is in a giant dormitory with 455 other players, all dressed in identical green tracksuits. Each player has a number, and Gi-hun is 456, the final recruit. The game is overseen by a masked figure known as the Front Man, who commands an army of guards in red jumpsuits and featureless masks. The guards' masks have different shapes: circles, triangles, and squares, indicating their ranks. A huge prize pool of 45.6 billion won, 38 million USD is revealed. But there's one rule: lose a game and you're eliminated. The players don't yet realize what that truly means. Game 1. Red light, green light, a bloodbath. The first game seems simple. Red light, green light. Players must cross a field toward a giant animatronic doll. Green light, run forward. Red light, stop immediately. At first, players treat it like a joke until the first person moves on red light and a gunshot rings out. The player drops dead. Blood pools on the ground. The others freeze. Suddenly, the doll's sensors scan the crowd, detecting anyone still moving, and automatic rifles open fire. A massacre unfolds as dozens of players are eliminated, their bodies littering the field. Those who survive realize the horrifying truth: elimination means death. Gi-hun nearly falls, but a stranger catches him, a kind-hearted player named Ali Abdul, player 199. By the time the countdown reaches 0, more than half the players are gone. The survivors stumble back to the dormitory, shaken. But the nightmare has only just begun. Hash a chance to leave and why they come back. That night, the players beg for the games to end. Surprisingly, the guards offer a vote. If the majority chooses to leave, everyone goes home safely. The vote comes down to player 01, an elderly man named Oh Il-nam. He chooses to leave, and the players are dumped back into the real world. But the outside world is just as cruel. Gi-hun finds his mother is sick, but he has no money for treatment. Ali's boss refuses to pay him, leaving his wife and baby struggling. Sang-woo, Gi-hun's childhood friend, once a successful businessman, turns out to be wanted for fraud. Kang Se-byuk, a North Korean defector, desperately needs money to rescue her family. With no way out, almost everyone returns to the game, knowing full well what awaits them. Game 2, the Honeycomb Nightmare. For the second game, players must cut a shape out of a delicate sugar honeycomb, dalgona, without breaking it. Before they know the rules, they blindly choose a shape: circle, triangle, star, umbrella. Gi-hun, unlucky as ever, picks the umbrella, the hardest one. As players carefully carve their shapes, those who fail are immediately eliminated. Gi-hun nearly panics, but realizes he can lick the back of the honeycomb, softening it enough to carefully extract the shape. Some aren't so lucky. The number of survivors shrinks again. The night of chaos, players turn on each other. After the game, players receive barely any food, heightening tensions. That night, when the guards turn off the lights, a brutal fight erupts. Players turn on each other to increase their odds of winning. Gi-hun and his allies, Ali, Se-byuk, Sang-woo, and Il-nam, band together for survival. But the bloodshed isn't over. Game 3, Tug of War, Strength versus Strategy. This isn't your playground tug of war. It's life or death. Gihun's team is doomed on paper. They have 3 women, an old man, and a few weaker men, while their opponents are strong, muscular competitors. Just as all hope seems lost, Ilnam devises a brilliant strategy, using positioning and teamwork to outlast their opponents. In a nail-biting moment, they win, sending their rivals plummeting to their fate. Game 4, Marbles, Betrayal and Heartbreak. Players partner up, assuming they'll compete together. Instead, they must face each other. One lives, one is eliminated. Gihun versus Ilnam. Gihun tricks the old man into losing. Ali versus Sangwoo. Sangwoo cruelly deceives Ali, taking his marbles. Saebyuk versus Jiyoung. Jiyoung sacrifices herself, letting Saebyuk live. By the end, half the players are gone. Game 5, The Glass Bridge, a deadly game of luck. Players must cross a glass bridge, but only some panels are strong, others shatter underfoot. Those at the front are guinea pigs, falling to their fate. By the time they reach the end, only 3 players remain, Gihun, Sangwoo, and Saebyuk. Saebyuk is gravely injured by flying glass shards, and the guards offer no help. The final game, Squid Game, a fight to the end. Gihun and Sangwoo engage in a brutal, rain-soaked fight. Gihun gains the upper hand, but instead of finishing Sangwoo, he offers to surrender and split the prize. But Sangwoo makes a tragic choice, leaving Gihun the sole survivor. The final twist, the mastermind revealed. Months later, Gihun learns that Ilnam was the mastermind behind the games. The rich, bored elite created them for entertainment. After Ilnam passes, Gihun vows to stop the Squid Game once and for all. Want more deep dive recaps? Subscribe to Movie Vault. Welcome back to Movie Vault, where we break down the latest and greatest in film and TV with deep dive recaps. And today, we're taking a look at Squid Game: The Challenge Season 2, a season filled with high stakes, brutal betrayals, and mind-blowing twists that push the concept of the games even further than before. Buckle up, because we're going all in. The setup, Keegan's downfall and the hunt for the recruiter. The season kicks off with Keegan, the former winner of the Squid Games, who, despite surviving the nightmare, hasn't exactly turned his life around. 2 years have passed, and while he won the games, he's still a deadbeat father, avoiding any real connection with his daughter. His life takes a dark turn when he discovers a hidden tracker embedded inside his ear. Who put it there? What does it mean? That's just the first mystery. Meanwhile, Detective Jun Ho, the cop who infiltrated the games last season, is barely scraping by. He's been demoted to parking duty after spending the last 2 years trying and failing to convince his superiors that the Squid Games are real. With no hard evidence and no allies, he's been chasing a ghost until he gets a break. At the same time, Gihun, our returning protagonist, has been obsessively hunting down the recruiter responsible for the games. He's been using his prize money not for a luxurious life, but for revenge, tracking every lead, working with a loan shark he once owed money to, and forming a crew to bring down the organization behind the games. And then, boom, he finally gets a lead. His guys track the recruiter to a subway station where he's up to his usual tricks, playing a harmless game with desperate strangers, promising them a way out of their financial ruin. But this time, Gihun is waiting for him. The Russian Roulette Showdown. What happens next is one of the most nerve-wracking moments in the entire series. Gihun corners the recruiter, but instead of running or fighting, the recruiter pulls out a revolver and suggests a game of Russian roulette. Gihun watches in horror as the recruiter casually places the gun to his temple and pulls the trigger. Click. Empty chamber. Then he hands the gun to one of Gihun's men, a loan shark, and tells him to play. The guy hesitates, sweating bullets, but he knows backing out is worse. He pulls the trigger. Another empty chamber. It goes back and forth, each person pulling the trigger until the stakes become unbearable. When it's Gihun's turn, the recruiter taunts him mercilessly. Pull the trigger, or admit you're nothing but a dog serving a master you'll never beat. With no choice, Gihun finally pulls the trigger. Click. Still alive. But just as he's about to lose his nerve, the recruiter vanishes into the night, leaving behind nothing but a single ominous invitation to a Halloween party. Gi-hun, now furious and more determined than ever, takes the invitation and follows the clues. Meanwhile, Detective Jun-ho, who's been following Gi-hun's movements, tracks his location and realizes he's heading straight back into the Squid Games. And here's the twist. Jun-ho isn't the only one infiltrating the games. Another player, Nova, secretly works as one of the guards, but we don't know her true motives yet. New players, new games, same deadly rules. With 456 new contestants, the games kick off once again, and the first challenge? Absolute chaos. Thinks he's got the whole system figured out. Turns out, he's just another pawn. Pregnant lady. A heavily pregnant woman somehow ends up in the games, causing immediate panic. Drug addicts, a group of unhinged contestants who cause havoc and try to game the system. Just like Sebyuk from Season 1, but with a tragic backstory of her own. And of course, Gi-hun and Jun-ho are trapped right in the middle. The first game, red light, green light, with a twist. This time, if you get caught moving, instead of an instant kill, players have 30 seconds to convince another contestant to take their place in death. Sheer panic erupts. People start begging, bribing, threatening, and even shoving others into harm's way. Crypto scammer guy betrays his own friend, pushing him forward to take the shot. Pregnant lady somehow survives. Gi-hun realizes how brutal this new version of the game truly is. By the end of round 1, over 100 contestants are dead. Game 2, the 5 trials. The second game isn't Dalgona candy like before. Instead, players are split into teams of 5 and must complete 5 traditional Korean children's games under extreme pressure. A group of elderly players immediately struggle, unable to complete the first task. A young girl watches as her father gets eliminated in front of her, left completely alone. Gi-hun's group barely scrapes by, thanks to his quick thinking. And here's the kicker. One team who failed to complete a game is clearly still alive. Instead of being executed, their bodies are quietly removed. But why? The truth about the guards. Meanwhile, Jun-ho uncovers something massive. Some of the eliminated contestants aren't being killed at all. They're being taken somewhere else. He follows a group of masked guards and discovers a horrifying secret. Certain players are being harvested for their organs and sold on the black market. And even worse, Nova, the undercover guard, knows exactly what's happening, but isn't stopping it. The mid-season massacre. Just like last season, the game descends into an all-out war when the lights go out. The pregnant woman is cornered by desperate players, but fights back viciously. A secret alliance forms as weaker contestants band together to survive. Jun-ho and Nova cross paths, with Jun-ho realizing she isn't just any guard. She's been planning something all along. And then, boom, the big betrayal. Gi-hun's closest ally, someone he actually trusts, turns on him, stabbing him in the back, literally and metaphorically. Just when it seems like Gi-hun is finished, he's saved by an unexpected ally, Nova, the undercover guard. The season ends on a massive cliffhanger. Gi-hun is back in the games, but now he's playing for something bigger than money. Jun-ho finally confronts the frontman, but things don't go as planned. The mystery of the missing contestants deepens. And then, the final shot. A brand new doll is introduced, even more terrifying than the original. Final thoughts. Season 2 took everything from Season 1 and turned it up to 11. More brutal games, more twists, more betrayals. What did you think? Drop a comment below. And as always, thanks for watching Movie Vault.